Well, the U.S. military buildup in the Middle East is also growing, even as Washington says it wants diplomacy with Iran. The Washington Post reports roughly 10,000 additional American troops are heading to the region this month, including sailors and Marines tied to a carrier strike group and an amphibious ready group, adding to the force already enforcing the naval blockade on Iran. Joining us to discuss more, David DeRoche, professor at the Thayer Marshall Institute, joining us from Washington. David, thanks for being with us on I24 News today.
It's an honor.
Well, when you look at the specific assets reportedly moving in, a carrier strike group, Marines, more naval power, what does this all tell you about mission planning? Does this look defensive or deterrent?
Oh boy, that's a great question. I prefer to go in the more nuts and bolts of it, which is they lost one aircraft carrier, the Gerald Ford, because they had a laundry fire, and that had to put into port for repairs. So the carrier group coming in is replacing that so that they can have two carriers, the Lincoln and the new one, actually, I think it's the George H.W. Bush, will be there providing deterrence. And then the additional amphibious ship with the embarked Marines provides more ability to conduct shore raids as well as limited air support, not in the same league as the carrier, but significant. And that would allow the United States to sort of spread out Iran's forces, their focus, so you could have raids all along Iran's littoral from the Marines.
Well, based off of that, then, if war does break out again and a ceasefire breaks down, what does renewed fighting look like, especially given this buildup of troops that are in the region right now?
So I think first off, it means a resumption of the bombing raid, and if these two countries behave the way I think they would be during the ceasefire they were observing. And I think they probably observed what Iran tried to repair first, which will be basically Iran defining what their most important targets are for when the airstrike resumes again, or when the air campaign resumes again. Then I think that there will be significant assets or attacks against Iran's ability to export petroleum and earn money. What we can expect there are attacks against Iran's ports, not just in the Gulf, but also along the Indian Ocean. So the oil terminal at Jask and Chabahar. I don't think that those will be destroyed, but I think they will be disabled as a means of scaring off civilian commerce to enhance the blockade. Then I think we'll probably also see limited amphibious raids against some of the infrastructure that Iran has been using to threaten neutral civilian shipping. In particular, that operation is being run out of Larak Island, which is where Iran exacts their tolls from. If I were an Iranian sailor assigned to that, I would probably tell my parents to say that they're sick and I need to come visit them quickly.
As far as any sort of American coordination with Gulf states, if this war were to resume, or even when it comes to the naval blockade that we're seeing right now, these Gulf states took the brunt of the firing from Iran. Is there anything that American forces might do differently if the fighting were to resume to protect some of these allies, or at least give them a better hand?
Well, I think that there obviously is an effort in train to identify and destroy ballistic missile launching facilities and storage facilities. I'm not sure how successful that will be. We thought at the onset of this that Iran had about 2,000 short-range missiles. I think they have more than that. They certainly have more launchers than we thought they had, or they have a quicker ability to repair launchers. So I think that there's a big effort underway to identify where those are being launched from. I think that it's also possible that there will be coordination so that the Gulf states can conduct their own strikes. For example, the Qataris brought down two Iranian bombers that were en route to attack Qatar, but we haven't really seen strikes from the GCC states directed against the Iranian assets that have been attacking them. And then finally, this is of strategic import. I'm not sure if this will happen, but reclaiming the three islands, Greater and Lesser Tums and Abu Musa, which Iran seized when the United Arab Emirates became independent. Those are Emirati islands that have been militarized by Iran. The UAE has long wanted them back. That was something that was a back burner issue, but now it's been pushed to the front, and the possibility of the UAE reclaiming those islands is a definite possibility with American assistance.
How would an operation like that take place, and could that be involved in some sort of negotiations, or is that too far from the sidelines and the main goals that the U.S. has right now?
I think it would be a subsidiary, secondary aim, and it would be a very, it would be viewed as sort of a coalition management concession to the UAE, a major concession to the UAE. So I think that Iran's ability to effectively launch attacks on GCC and Israeli civilian infrastructure would have to be destroyed, and also Iran's ability to disrupt and threaten neutral civilian shipping in the Gulf would have to be destroyed first. The best way to do it would be a sort of prolonged siege, initial airstrike, isolating the islands, destroying the ability of the islands to resist, and then just hammering the facilities on the island that allow the garrison to resist. The good thing is the Iranians moved all of the Emirati citizens off the island, so the whole island is kind of an open target.
It's certainly an interesting development that we could monitor in the future, it seems like. Meanwhile, in the now, David, as far as this naval blockade, what toll does this take on U.S. forces? How long could they be expected to stay in this position in the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, well, I think the blockade is actually being conducted at a distance from the Strait of Hormuz. So you don't have to physically sit on something to do it. So basically, all you have to do is identify ships that have left from Iranian ports, which is easy to do at a distance. And then once they are in a position where the United States is in the ability to has the ability to interdict them beyond Iran's range to effectively interfere with the U.S. naval assets, that's when you pull them over. But it's somewhat similar to the Iranian blockade. If you do it effectively, you don't really have to actually do much. Just the threat of that will be enough. We've seen at least one tanker, the Rich Starry, which ran through the Strait of Hormuz, was told that it was going to be boarded, and it turned around and went back into the Strait of Hormuz. So that's the tanker that the Iranian sources have said, oh, this transited the Strait of Hormuz. The issue is not can something physically go back and forth through the strait. It's whether it can set sail from Iranian port and then go to another state's port. And as long as it's interdicted between here or there, the blockade is effective. It can be enhanced by targeted strikes on the loading facilities and a credible threat to strike ships that are docked in Iranian port. But I don't think you'd have to make that point more than once for the blockade to be effective.
All right, very interesting to see what exactly is happening and what could be happening militarily in the region. David DeRoche breaking it all down. Thanks for being with us on I24 News today.
Thank you.
I do